Hey everyone, my name is Zach. I'm a 22-year-old competitive boulder from Canada, currently living near Frankfurt, Germany. Welcome back to the COMPCLIMB training series, where I record all of my training, provide in-depth analysis of every session, and just chat about climbing with an emphasis on competition. In today's morning session, we are having a spiral session, and if you remember yesterday's episode, we were supposed to do a campus session that I decided to sub out for another spiral session because the spiral session that we had in the morning of yesterday was like really bad, and I only got to try one of the 3 boulders that I made up, and the other 2 looked really cool, and I was kind of like sad that I wasn't going to be able to try them, so I just said, oh, you know what, I'm just going to not campus so that I can try the cool spiral boulders. And then we ended up kind of getting booted out of the spiral section because there was an army of children that kind of took over the spray wall, and we just did our boulder session that we were supposed to do today yesterday, so we just kind of switched the 2. So now we're having our spiral session, and I wanted to maybe get revenge on this boulder that we spent all of our time on yesterday's session trying. But I also wanted to make sure that I didn't get too caught up in it again today, and if I just wasn't going to send the boulder, I wasn't going to send it, because I had 2 other ones that I wanted to try, which we ended up trying, and they were really cool. But I started with this boulder, and I felt quite a bit better than yesterday. Yesterday, I was saying that I felt like super garbage for my spiral session. I just felt like pretty weak, and I think it was just because we're, in sort of high volume training phase, and that just happens like sometimes where my sessions are hot and cold, and just the nature of training like strength and power all the time is very exhausting. And so I think I was just having a bad session, and it's pretty normal. But that being said, today we were having one of our hot sessions. It was actually okay. It was fine. It was a pretty standard, pretty normal session. It wasn't too amazing, wasn't too terrible. And so I tried the beginning of this boulder a few times and was realizing that this boulder, I was like definitely feeling like it was possible and I could maybe do it, but this move in the middle, like the toe hook move up to this blue sloper, was just like super inconsistent and low percentage. And it was like, yeah, it was physically hard, but it was almost feeling like a bit of a lucky move where I just had to find the right amount of momentum or something, and I didn't want to just keep trying it and hope to get lucky one attempt, so I decided to just call it on that boulder, and I gave up on giving the boulder any more send goes. But that being said, I hadn't actually really worked this last move very much. I think I went up to kind of try it once in yesterday's session, but I didn't really try it properly. I tried to do like a hand heel match on this yellow sloper and try to static it, but when I made the boulder, I was going for this move here, which as you can see is this massive move. It is so big. I was wondering if it was going to be too big, and then on that try yesterday where I just went up to like scope it out, I was like, whoa, that's like too big, I can't do this. So I went and tried a heel hook and was going to try and match and then go. But today I just decided, okay, you know what? No, I got to at least try. I got to just commit to the jump and see if it's possible. And my first couple tries, I was like nowhere close. You saw like I was like touching the bottom of the hold. And then gradually, I was learning how to use my leg to moonkick better. And then I was able to stick it like super desperately. That was like kind of a super scary move up at the top of the wall to do. That hold is like not quite a jug. It's pretty positive, but I definitely was like kind of pinching that to stay on. And if I kind of like on that time where I stuck it, I sort of hung on to that point, like past the point of like, oh, I like feel comfortable. And then I was like, okay, I'm kind of like in territory where if I fall now, I'm going to be face planting. But thankfully all our pinch block training came in clutch, and I could do that like really cool moonkick. And now we're trying this boulder here, and it also has like a moonkick here in this sort of crux of the boulder. And that's going to bring me into my tip of the day. And since moonkicks ended up kind of being the theme of the day, I found myself really having to make sure that I was optimizing my moonkicks to be able to stick these really hard crux moves. And my advice for moonkicks, my tip of the day, is that especially when they're like really hard moves and the holds you're jumping to aren't necessarily like super like jugs, or like it's not like you're jumping to like an absolute bucket. Like the end position is kind of hard to hold, like that big last move we were just trying. What you want to do with your moonkicks is make sure that your leg isn't completely straight. So if you just have your leg super straight and you end up like swinging it like a whole lot, the straighter your leg is, the more extended it's going to be, and when you hit the hold you're going to, the more momentum and the more force is going to be pulling back like on the backswing. So if you have like your leg extended a lot, now that leg is going to swing and bite you in the butt when you're like trying to hold the backswing, and it's because you're going to have a bigger lever and there's going to be more force like pulling your body away, and it's going to be harder on your grip. Whereas if your leg is a bit bent, all of a sudden your foot is closer to your center of gravity, and you're going to have less momentum kind of ripping you back off the wall. So you want to find that sweet spot of extending your leg to get a lot of momentum, but also keeping it bent enough so that you will be able to control your momentum on the backswing more. So I found myself having to really pay attention to that. I had like a bit of a bend, so I could really get a lot of momentum, but then also be able to bend it as my leg was swinging back to kill the swing. That was really important on that last move. And so now this boulder here we're trying. For those who remember, we were at Element like a month ago, and I had a session on this spray wall when it was like first put up. The holes were like, didn't have a lot of chalk in them, and I found that was actually making it quite a bit harder. And so we tried this boulder back then, and this white hole was like almost unusable when it first went up. I thought this move that we were trying in the middle was like impossible. But it was a bit better today after it has a bit more chalk on it, like over the month. And you saw like a couple tries ago, I was like, whoa, all of a sudden I like kind of looked, I had this look on my face where I was like, whoa, hey, this is possible. And it got me super motivated. This move is just like so cool. This superhero like 1-2 double clutch off this like big span. And then you have this like really epic move in the middle that I was like pretty proud of the way I made this up. It's actually pretty forced too. Like I was kind of thinking like, is this just super contrived and I'm just like trying to make a cool move just like for the sake of being cool? But I don't think there's actually a better way to do that move because you don't have any feet. And like I could maybe, like you think maybe I'd throw like a heel hook or bicycle on my left hand, but then, you know, I match the sloper and then I'm kind of stuck. So I think the sequence where you swing over to this bad foot and have to catch this hold down again with your left is like the most optimal way to do this move, and it's super epic. And just for context, I'm going to grade this boulder V13. It was super hard, and we put a lot of work into it on this, like a session a month ago. So that was a really nice send. I got super fired up for that send attempt, and I tried really hard. And it was cool it was like one of those moves where you start trying a move and it just feels impossible, but then when you just learn the move and you like really optimize your movement like to its maximum capabilities, it all of a sudden you stick it. I totally thought that this white hole was just too bad in order to do this move. And that's also like, if you remember as well, back when we were trying that boulder, I also kind of pointed at a weakness or like kind of a weakness of mine that I'm realizing is like, I've actually been feeling weak in like super like splayed out positions with like big moves where I'm like really extended. And so I've been trying to work on it in a bit of the spray wall boulders that we've been making up recently and some of the campus boulders. And maybe I guess I've been making a bit of progress because I felt better on those moves, like where we're just kind of like big, powerful moves and sort of like where your chest is like really working hard. And so now we're trying this boulder here. This is like the last of the 3 boulders I made up that I wanted to get on. I didn't get to try yesterday. And here we are like testing the limits of my sloping and pinching capability. I knew that when I made this boulder, I was like maybe being a bit optimistic about whether or not I could jump between these 2 blue slopers, and it was like really cool. This is like feels like my absolute limit. I think this boulder is possible. Like you can see that I can jump up to the holds from the ground like pretty comfortably and like be able to hold like a bit of a swing, but it's definitely pretty hard off of having your right hand on this sort of like crimp thing. Definitely, it's like the hold's like not amazing and it's kind of weird, like the way you have to jump out of this position. It's definitely quite different from jumping it to the ground, obviously, but I think it's possible. Hopefully, like we'll definitely be coming back to Element. We usually come here like once a month or something, so hopefully I'll get to try this boulder again. I was like quite inspired by it. I really like this move, like just on these 2 blue holds. It feels like I said, it's just like super limit, and I hope that I get the chance to try and stick this one day. And as you can see, Element is like, I've kind of mentioned this in I think it was, I don't know, like a few episodes ago, I was talking about how I will always not wear a shirt if it's up to me. And anytime that I'm wearing a shirt or a tank top, it's not by choice. It's because the gym will have a shirt rule. And it's purely like I was saying, it's because I have this freaking problem where I get overheated so easily and it really sucks. And if I went to see a doctor, like I bet I would have some sort of condition. I just get overheated so easily, and I don't go shirtless all the time because it's like for style. It is because it helps my training. And so even just having this tank top on, I found myself getting like a little bit overheated. Element does have air conditioning, which is nice, but even the tank top was just heating me up a little too much, and I found my hands were like extra sweaty today, and it was making this this boulder is exactly like not what you want to have sweaty hands for. But like maybe if I had like the shirtless power and the shirtless coolness, this boulder could be better. But yeah, we'll probably like come back here when it's a bit colder, like it's about to become fall, so maybe this boulder will be better by then. And that ending sequence that I was trying was also super physical. That undercling was like not a jug. It's like kind of like, it's in cut obviously, but it's like a super cool like deadlift move. That was actually a weakness of mine earlier in the year, and like kind of at the end of last year, I was noticing I had like a really sizable weakness on like powerful undercling moves, and sort of like that deadlift position where you like have to like engage your lower back really well and like sort of lock out your back. So I actually like deadlift. I did a lot of deadlifting in the past probably year. That was like a new thing that I added. I kind of stopped doing it right before we started filming COMPCLIMB, and actually in Germany, that like barely any gyms have like good deadlift setups, and like we don't have like a gym near our home, like in Langen near Frankfurt. So there's actually, I was like thinking about incorporating deadlift again into my program, but there hasn't been a great opportunity to. But like I was saying, yeah, I did like a lot of deadlifting in the last year, and I actually noticed like a lot of improvement on these sort of moves in climbing, like with these super powerful undercling moves where the lower back and your back like stability is actually really important. Like, so that move, like even just that purple hold, like it kind of looked like a bit sort of like, I don't know, anticlimactic, or like, oh, okay, that's just a move. But I was actually kind of happy with the power that I was feeling in that move, because it was like still sort of a new weakness that I've been addressing and been making progress in. I bet like a year ago or something, I probably wouldn't have been able to even do that move to the purple undercling and then the stand. I think my deadlifting work has been coming into play and allowed me to stick that move like the last year I've been deadlifting. So that's pretty cool to see as well. So here we are for session 2. Rested, for a few hours, and then it was time for our workout. And this is our last workout before rest week. Oh man, I like when rest week is staring you in the face. Even though it's a lot, like you'd think the last day would be super easy to just grind out, because it's like, oh yeah, this is a great day. Like rest week's on the horizon. It's like happy days. But it's actually the opposite for me. I just find that I'm just looking for any little excuse to just call the workout early and start rest week and just be like the happiest person in the world. And so every single rep and every single set I had to convince myself to do. It's crazy. Like, I feel like I really struggle with this. And the video series has been helping me keep myself accountable too. Cause it's like, if I, just skip a whole workout, I gotta go and tell everybody that I did that. So it's actually kind of helpful. And maybe if I was on my own, I would have just like skipped this workout. But I'm actually like, yeah, I train hard, but like, I guess like the fun fact about me is like, I will just like skip out on a lot of exercise and a lot of workouts, and I could use a bit more discipline. I'm like, I wouldn't say lazy, but I'll definitely like skirt the rules a lot of the times, especially because I don't have a coach and I don't have like, I can sort of train on my own most of the time. There's like nobody to keep me accountable. But now I have my camera and my tripod to keep me accountable, so it's pretty nice. I stuck with it and I did the whole workout. That being said, though, I actually skipped pistol squats today, and it was because the last pistol squat session we did, I think it was at like Boulder House in Darmstadt. I was like doing like a heavy weight or something, and I didn't feel a tweak when I was doing the squats, but later in the day I was like walking around the house or something, and then I just kind of messed up my hip a bit. It's fine now. It like wasn't hurting when I was climbing at all, but every now and then I could like kind of move it and feel it hurt. So I knew that I hurt it doing pistol squats, and so I just decided it wasn't worth it and potentially like hurting myself, so I didn't do pistol squats. But today's workout overall was really good, actually. So we did our heaviest hangs of like the whole program so far. We hung 120 pounds, which is like getting the PB territory. I think it's kind of fuzzy. Like I've been doing this for so long, but I'm pretty sure my PB is like 132 pounds. So we're like approaching that. And if you're kind of like have been paying attention, what often happens with like sort of these training cycles where we do like 3 weeks and then like a rest week and then 3 weeks and then a rest week, like that's kind of like the average. Usually what happens is every cycle, at the last workout of every cycle, I'll have like jumped the weight up by like basically one increment. And a one increment for me is like maybe averaging like 3 to 4 pounds. So like at the end of the first training cycle, let's say we did like 110 pound hang. And then the end of the second training cycle, we did like 114 pounds. And so at the end of this training cycle, we did 120 pounds. Because what happens is usually when I start my next training cycle, like I'll need to sort of work into the rhythm of it again and get my fingers like ready to go again. So I'll usually like go down one peg from what the beginning of the last program was, and then work my way back up. And it usually has me like at one sort of increment higher in the weight, like a weight for any different exercise. And I find that I always like make a little baby step every at the end of every training cycle we do. So that's just kind of how that works. And like the rest of the workout was good too. We did 90 pounds on our slope bars, still like sort of working our way up as we get familiar with the exercise. And then pinches, 72 pounds is pretty good. And dips are okay. And then I did my military press. And I was realizing actually with the, here's me being like happy and like glad that I grinded out the workout and it's finally over and rest week is upon us, 6 days off. Oh, I really need it. But yeah, I did military press with like, and I guess the bar at Boulder House is like a different weight or something. I was like, the weight that I had listed for military press is obviously lower than it was last session, but it's because the bar here is heavier than the one at Boulder House. And that's also kind of why I skip military press a lot of times. It's like kind of inconsistent and a pain to kind of set up and figure out what weight I have to do. So I need to find like a nice consistent place to do it. I think as long as we just always do that at Boulder House, it'll be fine. And yeah, then obviously I included a clip of my splits today. I mentioned a few episodes ago that I still like do them behind the scenes. I don't have it written in the program anymore because I kind of just treat it as sort of like an added sort of bonus exercise that I do. And so yeah, like what I said is what I'll do is I'll just sort of include a clip of me doing the splits periodically, like I don't know, every couple of weeks or something, just to show that I'm still doing it and like keep myself accountable too, because I'll skip it sometimes. So yeah, like I was saying, that wraps up this training cycle, and now I have a very much needed rest week, 6 days off, no training, no climbing, no workouts, no anything, just like chilling. And like this training cycle in particular was really brutal and really exhausting. It was just like a lot of physical training. And what is going to be nice is that the closer we get to nationals, like I said, I want to do really well at this event. I want to win it. That's my goal. So I'm going to do like kind of a moderate peak, like a little mini peak. And so we'll taper down the volume a bit and we'll start incorporating a bit more boulder sessions. So the training will be a bit less intense and a lot more fun. We'll be doing a lot more bouldering. So that'll be nice kind of in the near future. And what's also exciting is I think the day after tomorrow, Maddie's going to start climbing again. She's been on rest month, like we said, and she's like ready to start getting back to training. And we said like a few weeks ago that she was going to commit to doing like one episode of her COMPCLIMB a week, and that was kind of what she was going to start with. But now like she's getting super motivated to get back to training, and so she might even be doing a little bit more than that. We'll see how that goes. So you can expect some Maddie episodes of COMPCLIMB soon as well. And then one other thing I think I'll do as well is I think I'm going to make a dedicated video, like, I don't know, maybe it'll be 5 minutes long or something, where I kind of just break down what the next training cycle is going to look like. Like, sure, I sort of talk about the program as we go through it and do it, and like I obviously show like little clips of what we're doing for the day, but I think I'll like make a video where I just talk about the next training cycle and sort of the rationale behind it, like what we're doing, what the new things we're doing, and why are we doing these things, and sort of just do like a nice program breakdown for like the next cycle, which is usually a month long at a time. And yeah, it'll just be its own video and it'll be like 5 minutes. I think that would be fun and interesting. So you can expect that probably like tomorrow, actually. Insert catchy outro to the video here.